Let's start by giving all praises to the Most High, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in Hebrew is the Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elders and apostles by the Holy Spirit, who taught us his truth. Honors to the brothers, making their bodies a living sacrifice to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, which will be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel, according to scripture and according to prophecy. But the hopeful elect would be 1/3 of the Israelites who are going to return back to the Most High during these last days to receive salvation, while the 2/3 of Israel who don't turn back to the Most High be destroyed in judgment. We back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. I think this is going to be a World War III update. This will be number 62. I think I'm going to title it Trade Wars, America versus Canada. World War III update 62. Trade Wars, America versus Canada. But we're going to get started right away going into this video. And for those who not in the know, America has imposed 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada and 20% tariffs on China. Now, as a response, these countries going to also put tariffs on America, and they want to stop doing business with America. And what it's about, money. So, for example, with Canada, Trump wants Canada to become part of the U.S., to be the 51st state. Why? Because Canada has a lot of minerals and raw earth materials that will benefit America. Now, America don't want to trade fair and square for Canada's resources. They just want to take it for themselves. And if Canada can become the 51st U.S. state, then America will have rights to all of Canada's resources. But Canada is not going for that. So what America wants to do is put these tariffs on Canada to cause their economy to collapse. And then when their economy collapses, America's going to say, you know, you can't stand on your own. So why don't you join the United States of America? That's what they really trying to do. Although Trump blames the tariffs on illegal immigrants coming from the Canadian border, and that these illegal immigrants are bringing fentanyl into the country. That's just a cover story. What it's really about is Canada's resources. They want to collapse the Canadian economy, and they want to take over Canada. So a little longer than expected intro, but let's get on with this first video. And peep the title, Babylon, which is America versus Canada. Now listen closely.
America doesn't know. America doesn't know the same thing that Canada is hearing. I was just on a call with some very, very well-educated people. I mean, people who work in D.C., lawyers, writers, like very well-educated people. And as of this morning, Saturday, February 8th, I was saying to them, yeah, Canada is preparing for war. And they were like, what are you talking about? They don't know. Like our Prime Minister yesterday, Justin Trudeau yesterday, was caught on a hot mic, but let's be honest, we all needed to know, and he caught saying it, that what I said earlier, like last week, when I said that Trump is going to annex us, invade, he wants our critical minerals.
You heard her. She said Trump wants to annex Canada, to annex Canada mean is to add Canada to the United States of America, and possibly going as far as invading Canada with the U.S. military. Now we're gonna dial this back a little bit, then continue. So listen up.
I said earlier, like last week, when I said that Trump is going to annex us, invade, he wants our critical minerals. It's a serious threat. It is not a joke. Jimmy Fallon is out there making jokes about, maybe 179 countries will watch the Super Bowl because we'll take over Canada by Sunday. Not funny, Jimmy. Not funny. And so I was on this call, and I said, yeah, we're preparing for a war. And they were like, with who? With us, with the U.S. And I told them how serious it was, how Canadians everywhere have spent the last week boycotting the U.S. and looking up ways to make sure that they've sort of decentered the U.S. from their conversations and their lives. Like, this is a very serious, we're not going back. And Americans are not hearing it. They don't know. In British Columbia, which, and I'm sure most people don't know this, British Columbia is larger than every state except for Alaska, where I think we're almost twice the size of Texas. And our premier in BC has said that any government contracts going forward, if they have them with the U.S., they are going to, when the contracts come up, they're looking for other countries to do them with. So businesses that are out of the U.S. at all are going to be cut off from the province of BC. And that's huge. And I know that other premiers are doing the same thing. So I don't get why they don't know that this is serious. How do they not know?
Before we get too far, so the British of Columbia, which is twice the size of Texas, pretty much they're not looking to do business with American companies and American corporations no more. That they'll be looking to do business with other countries. So let's continue.
I mean, I assume it's just that they're not taking it seriously or that they haven't heard about it.
And Americans don't take anything seriously. And see, what's on the Canadian news and what the Canadian people hear is totally different than what's on our news. See, our government make it seem like everything is okay. Everything is not a big deal. But we're going to see what the Canadian president says on the video after this. Now, the Canadian president, he keep it all the way real with his people. But we're going to see in a minute.
I put out that video last week. And I think it's 80,000 views so far. I have not registered any comments from Americans, which is concerning, because if it has that many views and I'm not seeing comments, I don't know if they're seeing it. How do they not know? Guys, you're about to go into war.
I promise you, you are not going to see this on the news. Americans have no idea what is happening right now, and that is not an accident. The government is intentionally keeping us in the dark.
Yep.
Off of a FaceTime call with a friend who's a policymaker in Ottawa, and she informed me that Canada and the Canadians are fully preparing for a war on the U.S. Just yesterday, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, was caught on a hot mic saying that Donald Trump is serious when he says that he wants to make Canada the 51st state, and that it is a serious threat when he says that he wants to invade Canada and annex Canada because he wants Canada's critical minerals. Americans just don't even know that this is happening. To mention, Canadians are fully aware of this as well. If you walk into a store right now in Canada, you're going to see labels telling people what's American made so that the Canadians don't buy. And then in British...
See, Canadians are fully aware and fully prepared. Like you say, they label American items in the stores so that people can stay away from them. And again, the war that Canada is preparing for is a trade war. It's a trade war. But we're going to get more to that in a minute. But they are already breaking away from doing business with American companies, American corporations, buying American-made goods. They are already breaking away from doing it.
Which is huge, by the way. The premier in British Columbia is saying that they're going to cut off all contracts that are up with the U.S., meaning businesses in the U.S. will be cut off from doing business with British Columbia. And we're over here in America thinking that everything is hunky-dory with our allies. Meanwhile, they're pretty much getting ready to take us down. And honestly, I don't even know if this content is going to get pushed out to any Americans. So, all in all, we're, I guess, about to go to war.
So, this
Prime
trade
Minister
war
yesterday just
that America is trying to do on Canada is really going to destroy the American economy. But we're going to get this Matthew 24:6. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So when people talk about wars and rumors of wars, they usually talk about conventional warfare. When two or more countries go to battle with their militaries. Well, war can happen in many forms here these days. Of course, you got conventional warfare, which are military, but then you got trade wars, putting tariffs and taxes on other countries to try to destroy their economy, to so that you can become rich to build up your economy. But then you got cyber warfare, like what's going on with China. They say China at every second of the day is doing cyber attacks and trying to hack American critical infrastructure, doing cyber attacks, hackers. So there's cyber warfare. So cyber wars, conventional wars, trade wars. You even got electronic warfare, like what Israel did to, I think was it what they did to Lebanon when they made all of the walkie-talkies and the cell phones blow up. So electronic warfare. But for the purpose of this lesson, we're talking about trade wars. Now the reason for any kind of war, whether it's conventional war, a trade war, or cyber warfare, there's a disagreement somewhere. And the disagreement, when you get to the root of it, it's usually money that's at the root of the problem. So the root of the problem with this trade war between America and Canada is money. But we're going to get to the next video. It's titled, Canada Responds to President Trump with Retaliatory Tariffs. Now, this is Trudeau, the Canadian president. Let's see what he got to say.
At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite, but we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately, and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time.
What?
So they started with tariffs on 150 something billion worth of American goods. So they're not wasting no time.
Se voit forcé d'imposer des droits de douane.
And what's that going to result in? And stuff becoming more expensive for us here in America. But we're going to jump a little forward in this video to get the next section.
Your government has chosen to do this to you. As of this morning, markets are down, and inflation is set to rise dramatically all across your country. Your government has chosen to put American jobs at risk, at the thousands of workplaces that succeed because of materials from Canada or because of consumers in Canada, or both. They've chosen to raise costs for American consumers on everyday essential items like groceries and gas, on major purchases like cars and homes, and everything in between. They've chosen to harm American national security, impeding access to the abundant critical minerals, energy, building materials, and fertilizers that we have and that the United States needs to grow and prosper. They've chosen to launch a trade war that will, first and foremost, harm American families. They've chosen to sabotage their own agenda that was supposed to usher in a new golden age for...
So like you say, what the Trump is doing is going to harm American families. But we're going to get this real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach. We're going to get 10:3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Who's this unwise king? Be Trump, destroying his own American people for his own benefit. But we take it a step further. It's not going to just be blacks and Americans and so-called Mexicans and Indians that suffer from this. His very own people, Edomites, who are white people according to the Bible, even his very own people of his own nation, white people who are the Edomites, even they gonna suffer. So an unwise king destroyeth his people. This Trump destroying the American people by destroying the economy. Also going into Trump doing harm to his own people, his fellow white Americans, the very same ones that voted for him. And then I'm going to also jump here to the book of Sirach, chapter 14, verse 5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. So how was Trump be evil to himself? He's been evil to the American citizens. But when you take it a step further, he that is evil to himself, this goes into to a man that's evil to the people of his own nation. Because the hyperinflation, the tariffs, the effects of this trade war on the American economy, it's not going to just hit so-called black, Mexican, and Indian communities. His very own people, white people who are Edomites, they're going to suffer from this as well. And in fact, most of the executive orders that Trump has been signing is more Edomites, so-called white people, who's suffering because of that stuff. Like all of the federal employees that's been laid off, that's affecting more Edomites. So again, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? So if Trump is willing to do harm and evil to his own people, his fellow white Americans, what do you 12 tribes think y'all got coming from America? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, what do you think y'all got coming from America? At the president, the world leaders is even evil to their own people. But let's get back to this video.
United States. And they've chosen to undermine the incredible work we've done together to tackle the scourge that is fentanyl, a drug that must be wiped from the face of the earth.
So that's what they say the tariffs are about. Is to get these countries to crack down on fentanyl coming into America. Which we know if drugs, fentanyl, if anything comes into America, is because America bought it here themselves. But again, fentanyl coming to America, that's just a cover-up story. What these tariffs really about is to collapse the Canadian economy so they can annex Canada, meaning add it to the United States, that Canada will be part of the United States of America, so America can have rights and access to all of their resources. Now, what does Canada have that America wants so bad? I think we may hear some of it in this video, but if not this video, it's going to be the video after this one.
So on that point, let me be crystal clear. There is absolutely no justification or need whatsoever for these tariffs today. Now, the legal pretext your government is using to bring in these tariffs is that Canada is apparently unwilling to help in the fight against illegal fentanyl. Well, that is totally false.
So, yeah, he goes into talking about all the things they did to catch illegal immigrants and to prevent fentanyl from coming into America. But we're going to jump ahead in the video to the next important part.
Unjustified, completely false. So we actually have to fold back on the one thing he has said repeatedly, that what he wants is to see a total collapse of the Canadian economy. Because that'll make it easier to annex us, is the second half of his thought. Now, first of all, that's never going to happen. We will never be the 51st state. But yeah, he can do damage to the Canadian economy, and he's started this morning. But he is rapidly going to find out, as American families are going to find out, that that's going to hurt people on both sides of the border.
Yeah, they say that's going to hurt people. So again, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? So President Trump, America, is willing to collapse their own neighbor. They willing to collapse their closest ally just to get their resources instead of trading fair and square. He's willing to watch his closest ally crumble and fall just to get their resources. So again, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? And then we're going to jump here. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, also known as Sirach, 10 and 9. Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. Scriptures say there's nothing more wicked than a covetous man. Covetous goes into being greedy, being jealous. The definition of it is a great desire to have something that doesn't belong to you. And America has a great desire to have Canada's resources. So they willing to destroy their neighbor, their closest ally, to get what he got. So the scriptures say there is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such an one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. So in other words, he'll destroy himself to be rich. And that's what America wants to do. probably even as will probably even go to the lengths of invading Canada and literally going to war with Canada if things don't go their way. Now that's what all of the world wars has been about. World War I, World War II, World War III. It's all been about money. And World War III is when all these Edomite countries, these white countries, go to war because they all got something that the other country ain't got. They all desire what the other country has, like what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. America want what Ukraine got. They resources, they materials, and they land. But that's another lesson. So again, there is not a thing more wicked than the covetous man. For such a one set of his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. But let's get back to the video.
Americans will lose jobs. I'm just trying to remember. What was that? Kazmak, that's right. The one thing he has said repeatedly, that what he wants is to see a total collapse of the Canadian economy, because that'll make it easier to annex us.
So yeah, he'll collapse the economy, possibly watch millions of Canadians die, just so he can add them to the United States, just so he can get their resources. That's wicked. So yeah, he'll destroy himself, kill his own people, just to get what they got, instead of trading fair and square.
Is the second half of his thought. Now, first of all, that's never going to happen. We will never be the 51st state. But yeah, he can do damage to the Canadian economy, and he's started this morning. But he is rapidly going to find out, as American families are going to find out, that that's going to hurt people on both sides of the border. Americans will lose jobs. Americans will be paying more for groceries, for gas, for cars, for homes, because we have always done best when we work together.
See, he said they do best when they work together. But what the scriptures say, there is not a more wicked thing than the covetous man. So America, Trump, they don't want to work for what they want. They just want to destroy others in the process to get what they want. Okay, so we're going to now go to the next video. Now, this is a Canadian Prime Minister that we're going to see speak in a bit. But this guy is going to bring out some articles concerning the trade war and some of the things that Canada is willing to do against the U.S., which is pretty interesting.
Some big news coming out in the past couple of hours today, March 3rd, 2025, as take a look at the latest headlines coming out. Canadian Premier says that he will cut off electricity exports to the U.S. with a smile on his face. And you can...
Ooh-wee. Threats of blackouts. Canada say they're going to cut the power off on America. Because see, America never considered how much stuff they actually get from Canada. I know the average American, they look at Canada as insignificant. Like, who is they? What benefit are they to America? What we about to find out here. So a lot of Midwest in the Northeast part of America, they get electricity imported from Canada. And again, Canada is threatening to cut off the power.
See this coming out in just the past couple of hours today, March 3rd, 2025. Now, take a look. This comes as we are hearing Trump says 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports will start Tuesday tomorrow with no room for delay. So he is saying this is moving forward. It is going to happen. And just in case you were wondering, take a look. Canada supplies about 90% of the United States' electricity imports, and we're hearing Canada saying they are about to cut it off. Now,
So yeah, Canada supplies 90% of the United States electrical imports. So meaning the electricity, the energy that comes to America from outside of America, 90% of that comes from Canada. So
go ahead and share with you the video footage so that way you can see it for yourself and how the United States is responding, saying these tariffs, what is about to unfold, this is going to be impacting our U.S. economy. And in addition to that, I'm also going to be covering for you exactly where in the United States this is going to be impacting as well. It says in 2023, the United States imported about 33 terawatt hours of electricity from Canada. And here you can see this coming out before when we had the tariff threats. Canada's threat to turn off electricity to the U.S. It is heating up. Now, this was back in January, the 28th of January, 2025. Now we're hearing tariffs are going into effect tomorrow. And I'm going to share with you the clip where they're saying, all right, well, the 90% of the electricity that comes from Canada, all of that electricity that comes into the U.S., they're saying we're about to cut it off, and with a smile, because of what is going on with this tariff war. Now, take a look here, and you can see all the electricity that pours over from Canada into the United States. We're going to be discussing, as I mentioned, the impacts of this potentially getting cut, where it is going to be impacting the most, what it means if we actually see this unfold. I'm going to share with you the video footage, the articles,
so we're going to jump ahead to the next portion of this video. And we're going to hear the Canadian Prime Minister speak on things that they're going to do to America concerning this trade war and how it will affect America.
I'm joined now by Doug Ford. He is the Premier of Ontario, Canada. Mr. Premier, we appreciate you making some time for us today. We know that President Trump delayed these tariffs a month ago, and now we're hearing today that this will happen for Canada. Do you have any indication that he might delay them again? Anything that's giving you any hope at this point?
Hey, these people serious. In the background, they got Canada is not for sale. Man, these people ain't playing with America.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on, Aaron. For the sake of the American people and the Canadian people, he needs to...
God damn it. All right, we're going to start it back.
To pull back. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen here. You know, President Trump ran on a mandate to create more jobs, keep inflation and low and lower cost. It's going to work totally opposite. Plants will close down within a week. Assembly plants in Michigan, which is a red state. Manufacturing will stop. And the people of the U.S., which I absolutely love, the American people, they're going to be paying more. The market is going to go downhill faster than the American bobsled team. It's going to be an absolute disaster for both countries. We're your largest trading partner. I don't want to respond, but we will respond like they've never seen before. You need our uranium. You need our potash. You need our high-grade nickel. I will stockpile our high-grade nickel at 50% of your military and manufacturing needs. Your aluminum, the steel, the lumber. It will be an absolute disaster. And this is all due to one person, that's President Trump. I have talked to endless governors, Republican governors and Democrats, senators and Congress people. I love the U.S. I lived there for 20 years. They're all saying this is the craziest thing that someone could ever do.
Well, sir,
it's going to create massive problems.
Well, let me ask you, you said a couple of things here I want to ask you about. First of all, you said that you will respond. help me understand what you expect the Canadian Prime Minister might do, and what you yourself might do as the leader of a province there in Canada.
Well, we'll respond strongly, and we don't want to. On the critical minerals, I will stop shipments going into the U.S. for nickel. It will shut down manufacturing because 50% of the nickel you use is coming out of Ontario. I've ordered our bureaucrats to cut off tens of billions of dollars of contracts that we have with the U.S. We are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything, and I don't want to. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes in manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario, and it's going to be a massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does, and not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it. And I've yet to find one that supports him.
And so, if I'm hearing you correctly, you are ready, sir, to go to war, to go to a trade war with the United States, with the Trump administration.
It's the last thing we want to do. It's one person that's coming to attack us economically. Your closest friend, your treasured ally, that will stand shoulder to shoulder with you in every situation you've faced. And he's attacking the person, his number one customer. There's no country in the world that buys more products off the U.S. than we do. We're the number one trading customer to 28 states. And a lot of them are red states. They're going to feel the pain like they've never felt before. We're going to feel the pain. But I'll tell you, Canadians are resilient. We're strong. We're proud. And we're going to fight back like they've never seen before. And
so, aluminum, steel, nickel, timber, uranium, electricity, gas, oil, stuff for building, manufacturing, the military, building homes. We know back in 2020 that lumber and the price of wood was through the roof. So I definitely see America taking a loss in this trade war. But a couple more precepts, we're going to wrap it up. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 28, verse 5. This is concerning America. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So again, it said by wisdom and by traffic did America become rich or increase in riches. Let's look up this word for traffic. Let's look at this word for traffic. Traffic H7404. Let's click it. Traffic, merchandise, traffic, trade. So when we go back, since we know that traffic literally means to trade, by great wisdom and by thy traffic and by trading has thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So we know the way that America came into power is the way that it's going to fall. One of the ways it came into power is by traffic through trading. So meaning the traffic or the trading here in America is going to collapse. Nobody's going to want to do business with this place. That's what this trade war is all about. And it says, thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Meaning what? America feel because of their riches, they can do anything and everything they want. For example, annexing Canada to make it part of the United States. That's why the backdrop, it says Canada is not for sale. Because of America's riches, her heart is lifted up. Now they think they can just take over Canada. And then America said they want to buy Greenland. Greenland said the same thing, is that they not for sale. Because his heart is lifted up because of her riches, they made the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. Therefore, thus says the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. And that's their pride. They feel like they can do whatever they want. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, that's the other countries, the terrible of the nations. And they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom. What's those swords? They militaries. America's going to be invaded, and America is going to be nuked from all of its enemies, and all of its used to be allies, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, that's the lake of fire. Meaning what? America is going to be brought low. It's going to be brought low to the pit by these trade wars, the collapse in the economy, the collapse in the society, and then the overthrow of America, which will be the nuclear destruction. Thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? So, as America has fallen, are they going to say we had the greatest military? Are they going to say we're still the greatest country in the world? Are they going to say America has the best technology? That's them saying I'm a God. But thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. So yeah. Verse 5, it started talking about how America got rich because of its wisdom and because of its traffic, which is its trade. And then the end of it is going to be through war. The terrible of the nations drawing their swords, which are their nuclear missiles, to destroy this place. Last one here, this is Isaiah 33:1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. When thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherous with thee. So when America needs help, and America want to do business fair and square, ain't nobody gonna want to do business with this place. America ain't gonna have no allies or nobody that they can turn to. Just like Zelensky said. But it said what? When America is done spoiling, then America shall be spoiled. So, end of the day, America's gonna have no allies. Everybody gonna turn and nuke this place. Now, I don't know if Canada is gonna be destroyed with the United States, or if they're gonna shoot nukes on this place too. But that's the end result. All of America's enemies and all of her allies getting together to destroy this place. So yeah, this is the trade war between America and Canada. World War update. I think it was number 62 or 63, one of them. Hey, Lord Wooden, it was informative. Till next time, Shalom.